All right, so let's get some perspectives on all these preparations to the elections, and they always think their candidates will win anyway if you ask them. Let's head to Abuja. Markwe?
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. We hope that we'll have a very robust discussion with two of the major parties this morning. But only one of the representatives of one of the parties is here, and he is Afegbua, who's spokesperson, Presidential Campaign Council of the People's Democratic Party. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you, and welcome back on stream.
It's great to be back.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, I mean, a lot of politicking has been going on, a lot of campaigning is now going on, and it is now in the heat of this. First of all, I want to take your reaction to what the federal government has said, that the opposition is pitting the international community against INEC and the police. What is your response to that?
Well, I think the federal government has suddenly become the spokesperson of INEC and the police. I think federal government should allow institutions that will help to facilitate in a very credible process, free and fair elections, to operate independently. The Nigerian police is an institution of its own.
Yeah.
If they feel that anybody is preaching international community against them, they will speak out. The INEC, if they feel that anybody is preaching any international community against them, they will speak out. Don't forget that elections.
Let's get this in context now. They say they have very credible intelligence that this is what the opposition is doing, that they're going to send people to these institutions or some of these countries to also try and raise these fears. And we've seen examples of that from your party, saying that raising an alarm, to the United Nations on certain things that they perceived were undemocratic. We've seen that in the past.
When there are infractions, when there are certain things that are undemocratic, like you say, you need to reach out to people who have better experience in democracy. Whether you like it or not, there is no country that can live in isolation. No country can be an island unto itself. This same APC did similar thing in 2015. They raised international awareness to the elections of 2015. At that period, it was convenient for them. They were happy about it. Oh, they were globalizing their campaigns. But now that we are also telling the international community to beam their searchlight on INEC and the federal government and the police and all of that, they are complaining.
So indeed you are. Indeed.
For me,
first and foremost, yes. Let's get this straight. First and foremost, in 2015, you were a member of the APC. Would you say that this is a tactic of the opposition, regardless of whether or not there is any need for the international community to be beamed? Because normally the international community will come and monitor the elections. Why do we need to call special attention to come and for them to beam the searchlight on Nigeria?
But whether you like it or not, Mark, there is no country that's an island unto itself. Whether you also like it or not, we cannot be in isolation, particularly when we're a sovereign country.
But are we in isolation?
Well,
are we?
No, when you say where they are making issue out of telling the international community of what is happening. Any printed word is taken all over the world in this jet age. So you don't even need to call the attention of the international community. Once you write anything to raise concerns about preparations and what have you, it goes viral. It goes across the world.
Why are you dismissing this then? I mean, if the federal government believes that there is special intelligence,
you see, I am happy that the APC-led federal government is now weeping. Is now crying. I'm very happy about that because it goes to show you that they have not done well in governing the country in the last 3.5 years or going to 4 years now. So if they have done well, they won't be raising concerns about what the international community has to say about happenings in Nigeria. When it is convenient for you, Boko Haram and all of that, you go overseas to go and sign contracts, to go and sign this, to go and sign to get things done. When you want help, aid, you go to the international community and all that. But when things are being done wrongly, you don't want the international community to put a voice. That's a contradiction.
Yeah, but some people will also say that the opposition should also, look at how they invite the international community. Because, excuse me, you talk about how this was a tactic in 2015, and it seems that this is also a tactic that the PDP is employing now that it is in opposition.
It's not a tactic. I'm just telling you that
what would you call it then? If you're crying out, foul, where you think that there is a foul, where it might seem that there might be no foul yet, just crying out foul,
No.
In case you're beaten.
This is the second time they are issuing a statement of this nature. The first one, they said opposition are working towards setting up an interim government. Once a government surrenders its sovereignty to the opposition, it means that the government is not in power. It's just there in the first place. So rather than the opposition raising the alarm, they are the one raising the alarm. So I find that very interesting. It's a good optics for the 2019 elections.
Now let us see how it proceeds. But I mean, people will say that if you believe that your candidate is going to win, there should be no need for you to raise any alarm at all.
What alarm are we talking about here, Maokwe? You mean if we see certain things being done wrongly, or we feel that there are things that could be done to strengthen the democratic process, the electoral process, that to guarantee credible, free and fair elections, we shouldn't put them in writing? When you issue statements, even this discussion we're having is globalized.
Can I ask you what you've seen so far that is making you afraid that, things could be done wrongly?
No, we raised alarm about Amina Zakari appointment into the Situation Room.
She was appointed by the PDP government before the APC government came into office. Is that wrong? I mean, you're laughing.
You see, I like to hear this kind of this perspective of the discussion, because nobody is talking about her appointment as National Commissioner in INEC. Nobody's talking about that. She has the qualification to be a member of INEC and operate at that level. But what we are saying is that in an election where her uncle is participating, she should not be drafted to the Situation Room. That's our complaint. Nobody's talking about who did the appoint. No! She has the right.
I think it's also extremely important to put that in context. If somebody was found, I mean, this is not in defense of the woman. I don't know her. I've never spoken to her. But if somebody was found worthy to be appointed into INEC, and she was also in part of the elections that was conducted, which, saw this, her uncle, in quote, into office, how come all of a sudden she's ineligible to be in
She was not in the Situation Room. She was not in the Situation Room.
Let us also note that this attack started when she was appointed some acting,
National Chairman of
INEC. Yeah. And that's when the attack started. Why do you think that it had been so ferocious on this lady?
You see, let me just get it right. Even judges, when they found that they are worthy, they are appointed judges of courts. But when cases are brought before them and there is a conflict of interest, either by way of affinity or consanguinity in terms of relationship with anybody who is presenting a case before the judge, they will take a recuse. It's a simple thing. It's not a matter of saying the judge is not qualified or he does not have the worthiness to be a judge. No. We are saying that Amina Zakari was not or is not the only person who is qualified to be or to provide logistics for the Situation Room. And because of the patterns of our elections, because of the nature of our elections, we are saying that rather than create a doubting scenario of the sincerity of these operators, please provide a level playing field that will allow political parties the opportunity to see that your process is free, fair, and credible, and it seems to be level for every participant. That is the only way they can buy in to the outcome of the elections. But if it is skewed in favor of the oligarchs, the powers that be, then we'll have cause to raise concern. And that's what we have just done on the case of Amina Zakari.
INEC has denied that, that this is a relationship between herself and the president. And they also say that she's not going to be the only one in the Situation Room. There are a number of other people who are going to be there as well.
You see?
Don't you think that has to be enough check, assuming she's going to be biased?
I am happy. I am happy that the INEC has given opportunity for international observers and domestic observers to also be in the Situation Room. Before now, it wasn't like that. So now that they have been given that opportunity, it goes to suggest that INEC is now working towards ensuring that there's transparency in its conduct, there's openness in its affairs, so that in the final analysis we will see whether the process was free, fair, and credible. So we don't have problem with the fact that INEC has now made that place open for people. But in terms of making case for her, I don't think, if there's nothing to hide, I don't think she is the only person qualified in the entire institution of INEC to preside or to manage the Situation Room, as it were.